All right, everybody. So today I want to do my presentation on a philosopher that we haven't talked about yet in class. His name is John Rawls. Let me actually present this here. So yeah, this is John Rawls. He's had some interesting ideas. Um, in order to understand some of John Rawls' ideas and theories, we have to first learn where he came from. So he was born in 1921 in Baltimore, Maryland. He grew up during the Great Depression, so as a result of that, he saw a lot of poverty and hardship. He also served in World War II. I think he actually served in Japan, the Pacific area, in World War II. So we saw a lot of hardship and troubles with people there as well. Um, After the war, he studied philosophy at the University of Princeton, and when he was studying philosophy, he was actually really into the works of like Immanuel Kant and John Stuart Mill. So let's kind of talk about what they believed in, because I think if we understand what Immanuel Kant and John Stuart Mill talked about, it's going to be a lot easier for us to understand where John Rawls got his theories from. So Immanuel Kant, he basically taught that ethics is just a set of universal principles that apply to all people regardless of the situation. Um, so for example, like if you don't think, that was kind of an extreme example, but if you believe that killing people is wrong, according to Immanuel Kant, you'll think that all the time. Doesn't matter if someone breaks into your house or someone's trying to rob you. According to Immanuel Kant, if you believe killing is wrong, you just believe it's wrong. So you're not going to kill a robber or an intruder. So that's what he believed in. That's what he taught. John Stuart Mill, he taught that a person's actions are just if they benefit the majority of people. That's actually called utilitarianism. I think we actually talked about that a little bit in class. So this kind of leads us to, if you combine those two things, you kind of get John Rawls' philosophy, which is justice is fairness. So basically, he believed that the most just societies are the ones with the most equality, where everything is fair, everyone is equal. So he had kind of had two parts to this. So the first part applies to like political institutions like governments, things like that. And basically, as far as governments go, Rawls said that, it's right here on the screen, but he says that each person has the same claim to basic liberties, resources. Basically, everybody should get what they need. So that's the first part that he had here. The second thing that you talked about, sorry, my laptop just went crazy. The second thing that he talked about was social and economic inequalities. They basically meet two conditions. So these inequalities, first, they need to basically benefit everyone equally. And second, they need to benefit the least advantaged people in society. For example, let's say you live in like inner city, like a big city, a lot of poverty, a lot of struggles there. A lot of people would say those are usually the least advantaged members of society. And so a lot of policies and resources and things like that should be benefiting those people the most, just because they are experiencing the most inequality. So these things are kind of pretty interesting ideas. I think they're good ideas to, you always want to have, equality. I think that's definitely a good thing to have. Now, the issue that John Rawls had with these ideas is it's kind of hard to integrate these into governments, especially the U.S. government, just because we don't really have a lot of, we have some, but we don't have a ton of programs. At least when he lived in the 60s, when he came up with these ideas, we didn't have a lot of programs to really make things equal and fair for everybody. So to solve this, he kind of came up with a experiment. this experiment, he kind of challenged people to think in this way. So he says, a just society is a society that if you knew everything about it, you'd be willing to enter into a random place. So that's kind of like the goal of the experiment that he's going to come up with here. The goal is to kind of provide a good test to tell what the best place to be would be. And so this experiment he called the original position. And so to kind of illustrate this, think about this. Think about, well, don't think, but imagine that you haven't been born yet. So imagine you're just like an entity in space looking down on Earth, kind of like here. And imagine you knew everything about the world and you could pick where you're born. The question John Rawls proposed was, where would you want to be born on Earth? Would you want to be born like in a Nordic country like Denmark or Sweden? Would you want to be born in China? Would you want to be born like in the Middle East? Would you want to be born in Africa? And the only way that you can tell if a society is just is if you can answer yes to any of those questions. So if you can pick a spot on the Earth, with good conscience say, yeah, I'd want to be born there. That's how you can tell if a place is just and if society is really fair and equal. So that's the little thought experiment that John Rawls came up with to help world leaders, government officials, kind of see his ideas in a new perspective. And I think it's a pretty interesting experiment because it really got me thinking, because that's something I think about a lot. But yeah, I think it's something that's really helped a lot of leaders kind of see where they can improve equality in the eyes of John Rawls. So yeah, that's my presentation on John Rawls. Here's my works cited. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions or anything like that. I think there's a lot of really interesting ideas. Yeah, I don't know what to say, but well, thank you, and you guys have a good rest of your night.